Jai Hind, dear students of class 12 geography optional. I welcome you all in live class. After a long time, you are looking me. We have discussed a number of lessons in WhatsApp group, but in live class, interest is a little bit different. It is more attractive, no doubt. I am going to introduce today lesson 3 of book 2, Human Development. In book 1, Fundamentals of Human Geography, I have discussed the same lesson, human development in context of the world. We have discussed the concept of human development, about its definition, pillars, etc. Then why the lesson is repeated in this book? It is important to know that we should know the human development index, human development strategy, human development condition in our own country. So the lesson is explained here in context to India. Lesson is introduced with a story. The story I have highlighted, you can see that 60 years ago, Rekha was born in a family of a small farmer in Uttarakhand. She helped her mother in household chores. While her brothers went to school, she did not receive any education. Can you recall the concept of school dropout? Mostly the scheduled caste, females from all sections of society, they are mostly belonging to school dropout class. जो लोग स्कूल छोड़ देते हैं. Here you can see Rekha did not receive any education. She was dependent on her in-laws after she was widowed immediately after marriage. She could not be economically independent and faced neglect. Mostly the females in India, they don't have any income. Because of that, they face lot of neglect there in society also. But here in this term, her brother helped her to migrate to Delhi. So the story is started with a lady called Rekha. She born in a small family of a small farmer in Uttarakhand. Everything we now know. Very first time, she traveled by bus and train and was exposed to a large city like Delhi. After a while, the same city which attracted her with its building, roads, avenues, and facilities and amenities disillusioned her. A new word is here, disillusioned. It means disappointed. As she heard about the city of Delhi that having big buildings, wide roads, malls, avenues, other amenities, all they are better there in Delhi. So why she was disappointed? With greater familiarity of the city, she could comprehend the paradoxes. What type of paradoxes? Paradoxes means the virodhabas. The coin is there having two sides. One side speaking about truth, another is speaking about untrue matters. So here you can see that the Jhukki and slum clusters, traffic jams, congestion, crimes, poverty, small children begging on traffic lights, people sleeping on footpaths, polluted water and air revealed another phase of development. So here Rekha was surprised. She was disappointed. Why? One hand, she thought that yes, everything is good there in city of Delhi, but on the other hand, what the things she has observed herself, you can see jhuggi, slums, etc., poverty. It made she used to think whether development and underdevelopment coexist. The development one hand and underdevelopment another hand, both are coexist, both are going hand by hand. Whether development helps some segment of population more than the other. It is also right in case of India. In India, the development occurs is not satisfying the needs of all people, all segment of society equally. So does development create haves and have-nots? Of course, because especially I am talking about economic development. Due to economic development, the resources which are accumulated in few hands, the people they are called haves. They are rich people. On the other hand, many people are there having lack of resources. They are called have-nots, the poor people. So here, due to developmental strategy implemented in India, our society is divided into two parts, haves and have-nots. Now we'll examine these paradoxes and try to understand the phenomena. As paradoxes means, I've told you that virodhabas A coin is having two sides, true and untrue both. Of all the paradoxes of our times mentioned in the story, development is the most significant one. Development of few regions, individual brought about in a short span of time leads to poverty and malnutrition for many along with large scale ecological degradation. Yes, it is right. Development in past took place and many regions in India like Punjab, Haryana, they are economically well advanced, but there are regions like Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Bihar, they are economically backward. Some individuals having lot of resources, they are rich, many are there called poor. Poverty is increasing. Many people in this group called poor group, they are increasing in number. On the other hand, malnutrition for many along with large scale ecological degradation is also there. Malnutrition, kuposhan. And ecological degradation, we all know that due to excess use of resources. So here a question arises that is development class biased? If the development it is planned to develop each and every one of the society and the country, then why some people are rich and some people are not rich, they are poor? Apparently, it is believed that development is freedom. As in first book we have discussed, human development means enlarging people's choice, and freedom was added by Professor Amartya Sen. We know that two economists of Asia, one from Pakistan, Dr. Mahbubul Haq, the second, the Nobel laureate, Professor Amartya Sen from India. Amartya Sen has added the concept of freedom in human development. Human development means enlarging people's choice, providing them longer and healthier life with freedom to access all the opportunities, which is often associated with modernization, sometimes leisure, comfort, etc. In the present context, computerization, industrialization, efficient transport and communication network, large education system, advanced and modern medical facility, safety and security of individuals are considered as the symbols of development. Up to a mark, it is right. To develop society, we need all such things. But they are not only necessary for development, many other things are also important. Every individual, community, and government measures its performance or level of development in relation to the availability of access to some of these things. If people are thinking that I can access all these things which are in need in my day to day better life, they are thinking my development is well. And the people who are not accessing all these ones, they think that they are poor, they are not developed. This may be partial, one-sided view of development. As I told you, these are needed for development, but it is Eurocentric. Earlier, as it was believed that, especially in Europe, that the country we are rich, those countries where wealth is more, they are developed. Their human society is also well developed. But later, especially in 1990s, Professor Amartya Sen and Dr. Mahbubul Haq, they have introduced a new concept of human development. So the earlier concept of human development, which were based only on economic status, is not correct. For a post-colonial country like India, our country was ruled by Britishers for a long time. We all know about this fact. Colonization, marginalization, social discrimination, and regional disparity, etc. So the other phase of development. One hand, no doubt, we have made rapid development in all fields of aerospace, agriculture, industrialization, road and avenue development, infrastructure, etc. But on the other hand, we can't ignore these problems like social discrimination still going on. Social discrimination, सामाजिक अंतर पे भेदभाव, and regional disparity. As I have said, Punjab is well advanced economically. On the other hand, Odisha is poor. Within a state, you can say Uttar Pradesh, Western UP is well developed. Then the Eastern UP. Eastern UP is considered as a backward region. Thus, for India, development is a mixed bag of opportunities as well as neglect and deprivations. There are few areas like the metropolitan centers. You know about the metropolitan centers? The big cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, and other developed enclaves that have all the modern facilities available to a small section of its population. In BHU, you can see that in DLW and BHU, they are the part of Varanasi. But what the facilities the person they are living in BHU or working in BHU and DLW they are availing is not available to all the people of living in Varanasi. So far, all the modern facilities available to a small section of its population. At the other extreme of it, there are large rural areas and slums in urban areas. Slums means the areas which are developed with jhupkis, unplanned way. Lot of foul environment is there. You can say environment is also very degraded there. Even the potable water is not available to there. They lack in education and health infrastructure. So these are called slums, jhuggi jhopri. The situation is more alarming if one looks the distribution of the development opportunities among different sections of our society. It is not equal. After independence, some of the sections of society they got more opportunity to develop, and many sections from the same society of India they were ignored in the process of development. So this time you can see there is a huge gap between the rich and poor. Even many other criteria also can utilize for India. It is well established fact that majority of scheduled caste, here it is important to know that it is truth. You can see that majority of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, landless agricultural laborers, poor farmers and slum dwellers. Slum dwellers means people who are living in slums are the most marginalized lot. These people don't have better life. They are suffering a lot. Even they don't have access to education. Health facilities are not available to them. Even potable water I am talking about. Drinking water, safe drinking water is not available to them. So a large segment of female population is the most or worst sufferers among all. If you are considering these groups, scheduled tribes, scheduled caste, landless agricultural laborers, poor farmers, they are sufferer no doubt, but among these you can see the females are sufferer maximum. It is also equally true that the relative as well as absolute condition of majority of these marginalized sections have worsened with development happening over the years. Consequently, vast majority of people are compelled to live under abject poverty and subhuman condition due to non-availability of drinking water, lack of education, healthcare facilities also not available to these poor people. They are living, they are, you can say they are not living by their wish. They are compelled to live. They are forced to live under the condition of poverty and subhuman condition. In slums, it is really difficult to survive. Lot of diseases occurs over there. This time, this is the time of corona. You can observe in Mumbai, Dharavi, the largest slum of Asia. Maximum patients are coming from that particular region called Dharavi. That is the biggest slum in Asia. So they don't have better life in slums. They are compelled, they are forced to live in the situation of poverty and subhuman condition. There is another interrelated aspect of development that direct bearings on deteriorating human conditions. It pertains to the environmental pollution leading to ecological crisis. And by one hand, if development is going on the other hand, environment is also degrading because of industrialization. So ecological crisis is also there. It is not only because of more and more production, excess use of resources are also there, burning of fossil fuels. All these leads, deforestation leads to the ecological crisis and known as environmental degradation. Air, soil, water and noise pollutions have not only led to the tragedy of commons. All these problems are the tragedy for commons, for everyone. But these have also threatened existence of our society. Consequently, the poor are being subjected to three interrelated processes of declining capabilities. As far as concerning human development, the modern concept is there. We need to build more capacity. It means capabilities among people should be built up. But here, as you can see that because of all these problems, consequently, interrelated capability problems, the capability building is very difficult. So given paragraph, please listen it once. Consequently, the poor are being subjected to three interrelated processes of declining capabilities. If we have to develop some section of society, we need to build up capacities among them to access resources, to live a longer and better life, healthy life. But here, what happens? First, social capabilities due to displacement, weakening of social ties. Nowadays, the unity of society is on declining way, as well as displacement of people is very common. It means the social capital that is not as good as needed for development of people. Second, environmental capabilities. It's all declined due to pollution. And personal capabilities, it declined due to increasing incidence of disease and accidents. Because of diseases and accidents, the people who are suffering by this, they are not able to do work efficiently. This in turn has adverse effect on their quality of life and human development. If I am suffering from a disease or any accident, because of accident I am unable to do all such type of work which is needed to earn more money, what will happen? My quality, my life, it means the quality of my life will be hampered. It means quality will not be good, as well as human development overall will be hampered. Further info given, based on our experiences, it can be said that the present development has not been able to address the issues of social injustice. But the present development is there, it is not enough to address this, to minimize the social injustice. Do you know in India, on the basis of caste and creed, region wise discrimination, as well as religion wise discrimination, a lot of things are there called social injustice. Regional imbalances are also there. Three words are important here. You can see social injustice, social injustice. As I have said, in society, all sections are not having equal opportunities. There are regional imbalances. Some regions are well advanced economically. Their human development is good. On the other hand, within the same state, some regions are backward, like Western UP. In UP is developed, but the eastern part of UP is not developed as the western one. Environmental degradation is also there. On the contrary, it is being widely considered as the prime cause of social distributive injustices, deterioration in the quality of life and human development, ecological crisis, social unrest. So here question arises, does development create, reinforce and perpetuate these crises? Of course, it was thought to take up human development as separate issues against the prevalent Western views of development, which considered development as a remedy to all the ills, including human development, regional disparity, environmental crisis. Concerted efforts were made to look at the development critically at various times in the past. The Western or Eurocentric view means if country is economically advanced, if people are rich, they are developed. It is not only development. Concerted efforts are made to look at the development critically at the various times, but most systematic effort, as I've discussed already, toward this was the publication of first Human Development Report by United Nations Development Program called UNDP in 1990. In 1990, Professor Mahbubul Haq and Amartya Sen jointly published the new concept of human development. On the behalf of that, UNDP had published the first human development report, and year by year they are now publishing it. Since then, this organization has been bringing out World Human Development Report every year. This report does not only define human development, make amendment. What the development criteria was in past will not say in future also. There are lot of amendments, changes are there, and indicators which are used to check the human development also ranks the countries of the world based on the calculated scores. As we have developed about the three type of countries of the world, having high human development index, having medium human development index, and having low human development index. As per that, India is a country of medium human development index. Here you can see that what is human development. nicely given in this part. You can see what is human development. First, to recall it, we have discussed already in first book. Human development is the process of enlarging the range of people's choice, increasing their opportunities for education, healthcare, income, and empowerment, and covering the full range of human choices from sound physical environment to economic, social, and political freedom. Simply, human development is enlarging the choices of people. It provides better education, healthy and longer life, better income, and as well as freedom too. Thus, enlarging the range of people's choice is the most significant aspect of human development. Which is the most important aspect of human development? Simply enlarging the range of people's choice. People's choice may involve a host of other issues, but living a long and healthy life, as I have said for a number of times, living a long and healthy life, to be educated and have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living, including political freedom, guaranteed human rights, personal self-respect, etc., are considered some of the non-negotiable aspects of human development. So, freedom, guaranteed human rights should be considered as indicator for human development. Now, see, according to the this part is important. You can see, according to Human Development Report in 1993, progressive democratization and increasing empowerment of people are seen as the minimum conditions for human development. Two things: progressive democratization. There are two type of countries. Some countries having democracy, some country where there is dictatorship, like in China. India is a democratic country. So progressive democratization and increasing empowerment of people are seen as the minimum condition for human development. Moreover, it also mentioned that development must be woven around people. It must be people centric, not the people around development. It means development should take place around the people. It must be development must be people centric. Development should not be surrounded by people. Here given clearly that development must be woven around people. It must be people centric, not the people around development, as was the case previously. Now, here given human development in India. India with a population of over 1.2 billion. Now it is about more than 1.3 billion, ranked 130 among 189 countries of the world in terms of HDI, Human Development Index, with a SDI value of 0.64. India finds herself grouped with countries showing medium human development. I told you there are three types of countries with high human development index, medium human development index, and low human development index. Now we can observe the countries. We all know that the richest country of the world is the USA, but as per human development index, you can see Norway is having the first rank. We are looking after USA, it is on 13th rank. UK 14th rank. Russian Federation 49th rank. Now you can see the our country, India. The rank is 130. Bangladesh and Pakistan and some other countries, they are below us. Otherwise, you can see Egypt, China, Brazil, Sri Lanka even is having a better human development index than India. Sri Lanka you can observe. So far concerning human development index in India, we are going to discuss about low score in the HDI is a matter of serious concern, no doubt, but some reservations have been expressed about the approach as well as the indicators selected to calculate the index values and ranking the state and countries. If you have to look after the human development index, which ranges from 0 to 1 only, we need many indicators. Lack of sensitivity to the historical factors like in India, in past Britishers have ruled over us. India was the colony of British. Imperialism was there in past, as well as socio-cultural factors like human rights violation. Still, this time is going on. Social discrimination on the basis of race, religion, gender, and caste. Social problems like crimes, terrorism, and war. Political factors like nature of the state, either democratic or not democratic. Forms of the government, either it is democratic government or dictatorship government. Level of empowerment and some other factors, they are very crucial in determining the nature of human development. These aspects have special significance in case of India and many other developing countries. In India, all such problems have discussed like human rights violation, social discrimination on the basis of race, religion, gender, caste, etc. All they are prevailing. Using the indicators selected by UNDP, United Nations Development Programme, the Planning Commission of India, now Planning Commission is known as NITI Aayog, also prepared the Human Development Report for India. It used states and the union territory as the unit of analysis. In India, the NITI Aayog or Planning Commission, it is using the units, the states and union territories as a unit to prepare human development report. Each state government also started preparing the state level human development reports using district as a unit of analysis. The NITI Aayog is taking state and union territories as the unit. On the other hand, the states, they are taking district as the unit of analysis. Although the final HDI by the Planning Commission or NITI Aayog of India has been calculated by taking the three indicators as discussed in the book entitled Fundamentals of Human Geography. We have discussed already three indicators. First indicator we are going to discuss today is the indicators of economic attainment. Before that, a remaining part I am going to conclude here also. This report also discussed other indicators like economic attainment, social empowerment, social distributive justice, accessibility, hygiene, and various welfare measures undertaken by the state. Some of the important indicators, lot of indicators are there, have been discussed here. The first indicator I am going to discuss is the indicators of economic attainments. Rich resource base and access to these resources by all, particularly the poor, downtrodden, and marginalized, is the key to productivity, well-being, and human development. Now listen, rich resource base and access to these resources. If resource base is rich, no doubt it may be, but it is not sure that it is equally distributed among the people. So resources, these resources should be accessed by all people equally, particularly by the poor also. Downtrodden means बिल्कुल निचले स्तर का व्यक्ति, marginalized, because it is needed for productivity and for making human development well. Gross national product GNP and its per capita availability are taken as measures to access the resource base. GNP and per capita availability are taken as the measures to access the resource base or endowment of any country. Endowment means the funds. Economic attainment and well-being of individuals depend on economic growth, employment opportunity, and access to assets. So we know that economic attainment and the well-being of individuals depend on what? Economic growth. How much the economic growth is there? Employment opportunities, is it available by all class or section of society, all people? And how much asset they have created. Over the years, the per capita income and consumption expenditure in India has increased. As a result, there has been a consistent decline in the proportion of population living below the poverty line. It is right. After independence, India has implemented many programs to remove poverty from our country. Garibi Hatao, Garibi Bhagao, lot of programs are implemented by the governments, but present time our population is too much. It is more than 130 crore. Now you can see that the percentage of persons below poverty line, it means the poor section, as per data 2011-12, estimated at 25.7% in rural areas. It means about one fourth of the total rural population, they are under below poverty line. 13.7% in urban areas, about 14% you can say in urban areas, and overall 21.9, about 22% for the country as a whole. The data of poverty for the states so that there are states like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Manipur, Assam, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, etc., which have recorded more than 30% of their population living below the poverty line. You can see most of the northeastern states, eastern states like Odisha, Jharkhand, Bihar. Another side you can see the states like Gujarat, Haryana, Jammu Kashmir, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal recorded this data between 10 to 20%. But there are some states you can see that the Andhra Pradesh, Goa, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, Punjab, Sikkim, Daman Diu, Lakshadweep, the Union Territories having poverty below 10%. Then what is poverty? Garibi. What is poverty? It is a state of deprivation. You can see that here given example. It is a 1 mark question. Sometimes the statement is given in board question and it is asked what is this. Suppose the state of deprivation is known as, answer will be poverty. State of deprivation where the things are not available to people to satisfy their needs or not fully available to satisfy their needs. So poverty is the state of deprivation. In absolute terms, it reflects the inability of an individual to satisfy certain basic needs for sustained, healthy and reasonably productive living. The gross domestic product GDP, this time due to corona it is declining a lot. You can see that the gross domestic product GDP of a country does not fully reflect the quality of life of a country. It is also right. There are other factors we have discussed in first movie. You can recall gross domestic happiness is there in Bhutan. Bhutan is considering the happiness as a factor of human development. There are other factors like housing, access to public transport, air, quality and access to drinking water which also determine the standard of living. Jobless growth and rampant unemployment are some of the important reasons for higher incidences of poverty in India. In India, no doubt economic progress and growth is going on, but it is jobless. Job has not created much. So maximum youth population, they are unemployed. So unemployment is rampant, very common. So far, you can see that this table poverty in India as per 2011-12. Percentage of population below poverty line is given. You can see in Arunachal Pradesh, 34%. More than 34%, around 35% people are below poverty line. Other states, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and you can see in Goa, it is only 5% about. In Gujarat, Haryana, it is 16-11%. You can see. In Himachal, it is 8%. You can see that in case of Maharashtra, in case of Manipur, it is more than 36%, 37% around. You can find other states like Uttar Pradesh. Here it is about 30%. Odisha, you can see about 33%. Bihar, about 34%. You can see. So poverty is very common in our country. So here given which one of the states, now see the activity, it is important to you. Which one of the state in India has the highest proportion of population below poverty line? So as per table, you have to find it out. Arrange the state on the basis of their percentage of population below poverty line in ascending order. You can do it. Now select 10 states which have the high proportion of population below poverty line. You can select the state like Bihar, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, etc. and represent the data by bar diagram. So no need to do it. It is for preparation of things through activity. So given if you are preparing the states according to their population below poverty line, a frame out of all these states will be there in your mind also. Because of that, these activities are given. Another indicator are the indicator of healthy life. Life free from illness, it is important. If we are ill, we are sick, having lot of ailments. बीमार हैं अगर हम, living in reasonably long life span are not indicative of a healthy life. Some people think that if I'm surviving longer years, more years, I'm healthy. No, healthy life means life free from illness, free from any ailment. So, availability of pre and postnatal healthcare facilities in order to reduce infant mortality and post-delivery deaths among mothers, old age healthcare, adequate nutrition, and safety of individuals are some important measures of a healthy and reasonably long life. What we need? We need caring of newborns, pre and postnatal, even when the birth has not taken place of a child, some of the dosage of antibiotics, tetanus, etc. are given to mother. After birth, the children are provided with immunization programs with many vaccines, etc. There are caring of old people also, as well as you need adequate nutrition and safety of all individuals. All these are measures for a healthy and reasonably long life. A new program has started in India known as Swachh Bharat Mission (SBM). It is important. The release of toxic and non-biodegradable waste from industries and urban sewerages and open defecation. What is open defecation? Do you know? Especially in rural India, the culture is there, especially in Bihar, in Uttar Pradesh, people with little water are going outside for toilet purpose. That is called open defecation. खुले में शौच करना. Have created many health hazards like the polio. How polio was spread in past because of this defecation. The government of India has initiated many steps to address these problems. To solve these problems, government has initiated Swachh Bharat Mission, which is one of the important program. A healthy mind lives in healthy body. It is said, right? A healthy mind lives in healthy body. For a healthy body, clean environment is needed, particularly clean air, clean drinking water, noise-free ambience. It means sound should not be too high, and hygienic surrounding are prerequisites. It means for a healthy mind, we need a healthy body. For a healthy body, we need clean environment, clean drinking water, noise-free ambience, and hygienic surrounding. Municipal waste, industrial effluents, and pollutants generated by transport, etc., are major sources of pollution in urban areas. Open defecation in rural areas and in urban slums are a major source of pollution. As I told you, nowadays, जहाँ सोच वहीं शौचालय is a slogan given by Prime Minister Modi ji. It is good that people have to think for toilets. A movie has come out, Akshay Kumar Toilet. Now you can see in daily newspapers, it is given that बहू ने ससुराल जाने से इनकार कर दिया क्योंकि घर में शौचालय नहीं था. So it is important to make toilets at home because we should not go outside for defecation. So in India, open defecation in rural areas and urban slums are major source of pollution. It is not common there in village also. It is common there in urban areas also. The government of India, its flagship program Swachh Bharat Mission (SBM) aims at a pollution-free environment. Its objectives are important. It may come for 3 marks: making India open defecation free and achieving 100% scientific management of municipal solid waste, construction of individual household latrines, toilets, community toilet like Sulabh Shauchalay, seats and public toilet, PT seats that is known as, etc. Making provisions for supply of clean energy fuel LPG to all household. Ujjwala Yojana you can see, launched by Pradhan Mantri Modi ji. Through Ujjwala Yojana, more than 4 crore people have benefited, and the ladies were suffering for smoke in past, they are now having LPG gas to cook foods, right? In rural India to reduce domestic pollution. It was there in past. Now through Ujjwala Yojana, many people have got their LPG cylinder and LPG connections. Providing potable drinking water to every household to control the spread of waterborne diseases. In India, waterborne diseases are very common. So now government is trying to provide clean drinking water to save people from waterborne diseases. Even in villages, deep tube wells are bored out by the government to provide fresh water. And the last, promoting the use of non-conventional energy resources like wind and solar energy, because burning of fossil fuels generates a lot of carbon in the atmosphere, degrade it. So we need to switch from conventional to non-conventional sources of energy. It is important for our present generation as well as for our future generation. We should utilize solar energy, wind energy, etc. So this is important part now included in your lesson, also Swachh Bharat Mission, and the main objectives of this you have to prepare well. The main objectives you have to prepare. Four objectives are given. First is making India open defecation free and achieving 100% of scientific management of municipal solid waste, constructing household latrines, etc. Second, provision for supply of clean energy fuel like LPG to all household. Third, providing potable drinking water to every household to control the spread of waterborne disease. Last, promoting the use of non-conventional sources of energy. Right. So it's all for today. Next class we'll meet and we'll discuss the further content of the lesson. Thank you. Have a nice day.